You are tuned to the Witching Hours, and I'm your host, Kanaska Carter. On today's episode, we'll be talking about the 9 Muses, also known as 9 gods that influence humanity, or have the power to change the fate of mankind and humanity. Across the earth and throughout history, different cultures have been known to consult with 9 beings or 9 gods. And it's not just in one location, it's multiple different places all over the globe. So throughout history, people have claimed to have had contact with alien beings, gods, and UFOs. And they give them information or knowledge. Also, creative inspiration is passed along to these people. So, people such as artists, musicians, psychics, spirit channelers, and if you think about it, throughout history, people such as prophets or Moses, Noah, they were given information from gods or from a divine source. Now, who's to say that this was not an extraterrestrial source or interdimensional beings that we call aliens? So they're also known as guides, gods, aliens, and they tend to have messages for humans and mankind. They're also creators. So the 9 great gods of ancient Egypt is another form of this, where you will see it throughout history in ancient Egypt. And these are aliens that oversee what happens on planet Earth. The Ennead are deities said to have brought technology and knowledge to man. Like I had told a similar story before I even began researching the 9 muses, or the 9 gods that people consult with throughout history. I had close encounters. From what I can remember, there were 3 specific instances where I had a visitation. The first time they channeled, it was like they put all the information of the universe into my head. And this was in a lucid dream where I was lying on my side. And there was an alien creature lying on her side directly next to me. And I said, "Eva, you're not really an angel, are you?" And I heard her telepathically say, "How does she know I'm not an angel?" And in that instance, her eyes opened up wide and a blue light shot out into my head. And all I could hear in my mind was all of the answers to the universe. Shortly after that, I began to write a book called The Eerie Theory Guide to Mystery, about the mysteries of the universe. Another time, I had just printed off my first copy of the book from the library, and a hybrid alien approached me in Chinatown, the downtown east side in Vancouver, BC. And he was dressed in plain clothes like a human, but his face was that of a tall gray alien. And I even said to him, "You look just like an alien." He was like, "Yeah, I get that a lot." But he was very concerned, like he wanted to know what I had just printed off, and he asked to see my manuscript. He said, "Oh, this is your manuscript." And his name was Cyrus or Silas. And then he asked to walk me to my apartment. And once we reached the hotel I was living in, he said, "Oh, you live here." It was the poorest zip code in Canada. And he said, "I'll see you in 2 weeks." And I never saw him again. But I get homesick whenever I think of that encounter. And I feel like that was an alien checking in on to see how my work was going. As weird as that sounds, that's what happened. I really believe. The other time that this happened was another lucid dream experience. Like, it didn't feel like a dream at all. And again, it was like a hybrid gray creature, but I was in a trailer and my door was broken at the time. He opened the door, came in, and started to show me how to record music on my laptop. And he would look at me and then back at the screen, showing me what to do. And then he looked at me again and he was like trying to ingrain it in my head that I should be doing music. So to think that aliens don't influence us is probably one of the furthest things from the truth. Now, was this one of the 9 muses? Have I seen more than one of them throughout my life? I'm getting goosebumps just even talking about it. And it really feels like they were trying to inspire me creatively so I could pass along messages to other people. And there's so many cases of this happening throughout history. Before I even began to research about these 9 deities, I've had it happen to me 3 times already. But it's been more than 3 times, because so many times at night, I will feel and sense and even see in my mind's eye that there's an alien nearby. And then all of a sudden I'll get musical inspiration to write music. And then a full song will come out about how we're destroying our planet, or something to do with helping the environment, humans and animals and things like that. And where does that inspiration come from? So in Southeast Asia, they have a festival that goes for 9 days, and this is called the Emperor Gods Festival, the 9 Emperor Gods Festival. And this is in the 9th lunar month of the Chinese calendar when this happens. So thousands of Taoists celebrate the 9 Emperor Gods Festival during this time. This tradition is 2 millennia old, 2,000 years old, and it goes for 9 full days. So what they do is they summon the 9 Emperor Gods. There's 9 spirit channelers, and each one summons one of the gods. And it's important that you keep them happy because they control the fate of humanity. So these 9 Emperor Gods, they live in the sky, and they are believed to be the original rulers of China. And they are the offspring of the god of creation, is what the belief is. So if you think about the 9 stars of the Little Dipper, this is what people believe where they go to or where they come from. So in the Little Dipper, there's 7 stars that are visible and 2 of the stars that are invisible. So these beings control the universe, and they keep things in order on Earth. They essentially control the destiny of mankind. So in Mesoamerica, the Aztecs also worship 9 gods, the lords of the night. In Buddhism, it is the 9 unknown men. The Etruscans, it's the 9 gods that persuaded to control the fate of mankind. And in Norse mythology, it is the 9 gods that survived the RAGNAROK, which was the destruction of Earth. So it's always 9. And then when we get back to Greek mythology, is the 9 Muses that oversee, and they're like a council that oversees humankind. And they quite often will meet to discuss the fate of humanity. Spirit channeling, which is something that I do for a living, I'm a psychic medium. So quite often I will channel messages from spirits, even from aliens, as weird as that sounds. And they pass along messages through me in the weirdest ways sometimes. I just did a reading the other day, and it's weird the way the messages come through. I did a reading for someone the other day, and her son had committed suicide. And he comes through quite often. I've done a lot of readings for her since his passing. And I had a dream that I was going to get a book, and it said, "This will be a gift for you." And there was a palm on the cover of the book. Now, it wasn't a gift for me. The message was for my client who I was doing a reading for that day. And this was the daughter of the mother. And so that day, I was on Facebook Marketplace. It was like a free, like a trading group. It was a Facebook group. And this person posted about all these spell books that she wanted to trade. So I traded a subscription box for a bunch of spell books and some runes. That conversation happened before the dream, and it turns out that she has the exact same name as the son that committed suicide, who passed away. So the exact spirit I was going to be contacting that day, I had messaged somebody earlier that day looking to do a trade, and they had the name Corey. They both had the name Corey. So I told my client I'm going to look through the books when they show up, and I'm looking for an open palm, like an open palm image. So the only book that I found that had that, I actually already had that book, and it was a book on tarot, and there was two palms like this on the front. On the tower card was on the very cover, and there was hands like this. I opened up the book, and these papers fell out, and there was a sketch of somebody holding a gun. And that was how Corey died. The weirdest thing was I ended up finding a receipt, and someone had booked a palm reading. So all of that was in the book. So spirits will bring you messages into the physical world, and you don't know how. It was almost like a gift from the other side. So when it comes to spirit channeling, quite often I will get messages. I will see the spirits either in my mind's eye. Sometimes they will appear just looking just like you or me. Flesh, looks like flesh and blood, right? Like a solid human standing in front of you. Other times they will speak to me telepathically, or I'll just hear them normally in the room. They'll move things. They will cause lights to flicker, or technology will glitch out. So there's different ways that you can channel messages. Now, is this a form of what people would call a genius or a genie? This is a form of where a spirit or entity will actually go into the body and inspire somebody, or they'll give them the message. And perhaps this is where we've got a lot of our great ideas. A muse is the spirit. So, very similar to mediums and psychics, musicians and artists. It is a form of, I view it as a form of magic almost. You're able to channel a message. The creative inspiration comes from, it's believed it comes from outside of yourself. So you're inspired by muses, is what is believed in Greek mythology, to create music, art, stories, any form of writing. And the spirit of the muse enters you and inspires that creativity. So there's also the belief that they put the thoughts into your mind, is another way to word it. They put the thoughts into your mind and influence you. I've had many, many experiences like that, especially late at night, and I could sense something is nearby, and then I start to get this inspiration, or I hear them speaking into my head on what I'm supposed to write about, or I just get this random inspiration out of nowhere creatively. So it's interesting stuff. Are there 9 gods that dictate the fate of humanity? I think that there might be. If it's not just in one place in the world where they believe this, why is it in so many different places all over planet Earth? where these 9 gods or these 9 beings influence mankind. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. That's it for this episode of The Witching Hours. I'll be posting another episode soon. I love you guys very much. And until next time, I'm your host, Can Ask It Carter.